Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I'm delighted going to get to spend some time, a really special interview that's been in the works for quite some time. We're going to interview Martin Pistorius. Many of you saw his story on National Public Radio. I've seen it on many stories around the national media. It's a fascinating story, to say the least. And this gentleman is the author of the book called Ghost Boy, and it's an amazing story. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with my talking about it, but I want to get straight to him. And by the way, to do this interview, and you'll understand why as we go along, our guest Martin uses technology very similar to what we have seen from voice technology, computer-based voice technology, and it's fascinating, and we're grateful that he's able to do it. Back in 1988, Martin Pistorius, at the time, age 12, fell inexplicably ill. First, he lost his voice and stopped eating. Then he slept constantly and shunned human contact. Doctors were mystified, and within 18 months, he was mute and wheelchair-bound. Martin's parents were told an unknown degenerative disease left him with the mind of a baby and less than 2 years to live. Martin was moved to care centers for severely disabled children. The stress and heartache shook his parents' marriage and their family to the core. Their boy was gone, or so they thought. Ghost Boy is the heart-wrenching story of one boy's return to life through the power of love and faith. In these stages, readers see a parent's resilience, the consequence of misdiagnosis, abuse at the hands of cruel caretakers, and the unthinkable duration of Martin's mental alertness betrayed by his lifeless body. We also see a life reclaimed, business created, a new love kindled, all from a wheelchair. Martin's emergence from his own darkness invites us to celebrate our own lives and fight for a better life for others. And so with that, I want to get straight to my first question. Tell me what happened that led you to when you became a ghost boy.
I was 12 years old when I came home from school one day complaining of a sore throat. Within months, I was mute, completely unresponsive, and unaware of anything going on around me. My parents were told I had severe brain damage. Nearly 4 years later, my awareness began to return. It was something that happened gradually. So it wasn't like one moment I was asleep and the next moment I was awake. It is quite difficult to describe, but I often say that it is sort of like looking at a grey, completely out of focus image, and then gradually the colors start to flow back, and the image becomes clearer and clearer. As my awareness returned, it took me a while to fully comprehend that I was trapped inside my body. That even when I tried to reach out, to communicate, nobody seemed to take notice. That's why my book is called Ghost Boy, because for so many years I was like a ghost. I could hear and see everything, but it was like I wasn't there. I was invisible, a ghost.
That's fascinating. What did you do during those years of being aware but not heard in order to cope?
I coped mostly through escaping into my mind. I would literally lose myself in my imagination. I'd imagine all sorts of things, like being very small and climbing into a spaceship and flying away, or that my wheelchair would magically transform into a flying vehicle a la James Bond, with rockets and missiles. I would sometimes watch things move, whether it be how sunlight moved throughout the day, or watching insects of some sort scurry about, but really I lived in my mind.
How did you make others aware you were alert? And how long had you tried to make them aware of it?
There were many times when I tried to reach out, and even times when I thought I was making movements that I began to realize that nobody seemed to be able to see or took any notice of my movements. That all changed when I met Werner nearly 12 years after I first fell ill. Werner, who worked at the care center I was in, would talk to me like a friend, as if I understood, almost expecting a response. when she eventually picked up on the subtle signs that I could understand what she was saying and began to see me, it was so amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's extraordinary. What did you get from that experience that you are carrying through life?
I always try to appreciate the small, simple, yet important things in life. Being together with the people you love, the feel of warm sunshine on your skin, the taste of the food you love, the sound of music. Really just enjoy life as much as possible. I've also learned how important it is to treat everyone with kindness, dignity, compassion and respect, whether you think they understand or not. Never underestimate the power of the mind or the importance of love and faith, and to never stop dreaming.
Absolutely. I think those are powerful messages. Those are powerful messages for anyone, regardless of their circumstances. Coming from your story, I think, is all the more extraordinary. What made you want to write your book, and what do you hope the reader gets from it?
It is something I had often thought about doing. In fact, a lot of people said to me that I write well and that I need to write a book. However, the time just never seemed right. Then in 2010, things just seemed to fall into place and there was an opportunity to write the book, so I grabbed it. My greatest hope with Ghost Boy is that it will make a difference to someone in some way. Ultimately, my book is about hope.
No question. No question. And then I tell you, it makes every single person, regardless of their circumstances, put their lives in proper perspective to hear your story. And using great technology, most of us are familiar with anyone familiar with Stephen Hawking is familiar with the technology our guests use today. Our guest, Martin Pistorius, author of the book, Ghost Boy, and you can find the book, great information, by the way, which includes a free sample chapter at ghostboybook.com. That's ghostboybook.com. Martin, thank you so much for being with us. I really do appreciate it. I want to, without reservation, suggest the reader to go check out Ghost Boy Book and do it today. And when we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here, including this interview, can be found over there at usdatareview.com. Plus, we'll put a link over there for people to be able to get access to that free sample chapter. More for you right here on The Price of Business.